Satnam, Satnam, Satnam. Welcome to Mel's Magic Official. This is Magic Mel, also known as Amar Vedya, tuning in from Javier, Costa Blanca, Spain. How have you been? I hope this finds you well. So, in this episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about my recent experiences because this is where I share with you my own evolution, well, sometimes regression, my own journey in the hope that something may resonate with you and that you can also gain some insights through my own processing. I haven't been here for a while. Last few months, at least October, September, have been wild. So, some of my conclusions, on this path of evolution and transformation, we may get the guidance to do something, to create something from our higher self, i.e., an inspired idea, and we may put all of our energy into it with all the good intentions. However, maybe because precisely we're pushing too much and we're not surrendering the outcome, things fall apart. Let me know in the comments box if anything within the last 2 months or recently has completely hit the fan, or if you've fallen flat on your face, or if something just completely turned out completely different than how you had envisioned, planned, or intended it to be. Is that correct English? You know what I mean? So in my case, I was planning to and working towards hosting this retreat. Turns out that, it was an opportunity for me to reframe the terms of success and failure. From my old way of thinking, my old projections said, oh my God, I failed because nobody showed up. However, in the reframing of the experience and being very present and looking at it differently, I realized, oh, this is actually a blessing because my lead trainer came all the way from Bali and she was present with me and my mom. So the retreat itself was for my mom and me, and I didn't even know I needed that, but it was the outcome. Yes, it wasn't planned, but it was really this opportunity to ask myself, how can I look at this differently? Not from a sense of loss and lack and scarcity and complaining and victimhood, but from this more empowering perspective, i.e., what is the deeper purpose of this? What am I learning out of this? What is the universe trying to show me here? Or maybe also self-reflecting back, what energy was not useful for me to be in? I.e., when we desire something and we desire it so much that we get attached to the outcome. It has to happen in a specific way on a specific timeline. And that's when we inject so much resistance into our creations. The opportunity is for us to play like alchemists, with the young go-getter energy and with the surrendering energy, trusting, staying in our lane, not overdoing it, i.e., not stepping in the lane of what the universe, God, the higher power, is supposed to be doing. So this means, we put energy as much as we can into creating that, but then we got to let go. Because if we're attached to it, anything where grasping and latching onto out of desperation or a sense of lack will be taken away from us. Because the universe is trying to show us, the higher power is trying to guide us back to the true source, which is inside God, higher power, the universe itself. So if we pin our happiness or a sense of fulfillment or a sense of success or accomplishment onto anything exterior, whether that be a person, a relationship, money, an achievement, most likely than not, it will either disappear or implode on itself. Because we're not supposed to outsource our sense of security, happiness, fulfillment from that outer source. We're constantly being redirected to look inside. So what this experience first brought up was, I was stressing a lot because From my perspective, it meant this milestone in my vision, what I had envisioned for Casa Lily, for this place here, and in my own journey. So I put a lot of pressure on myself. So when it didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen, I felt a lot of shame. Yes, I did feel a sense of failure. I was judging myself, I was being hard on myself. Of course, none of that helped. It actually brought up all kinds of old coping mechanisms, smoking, beating myself up, where I was thinking, God, I thought I was over this. I thought I had dealt with this, which then reinforces the self-judgment, no? And we go round and round and round and round. So let me know what you went through over the past 2 months. Maybe you had an opportunity to create something amazing, something that you'd always wanted to manifest. Maybe a relationship came. Anything or anyone that represented happiness or fulfillment for you. What happened? Did you attach to it? Did you come from it from a sense of desperation and lack, hence pushing it further away from you? If so, right here with you. I lost my center in such a way that, I lost my center, which brings me back to another insight, now having processed all of this, the importance of a daily grounding spiritual practice that can take any shape or form. In my case, I do Kundalini yoga. We call it sadhana. Sadhana is a spiritual practice we do in the morning every day, and it's basically you coming back home to yourself and connecting with the Creator, God, higher power. It's being intentional about that and feeding that connection, that relationship, that good energy, because negative energy spirals and grows on its own. Try it out, no? You think of one thought negatively and it immediately attracts all these other negative things. But we need to consciously make an effort to feed the good, the positive. So daily spiritual practice, I highly recommend it. Even Google agrees. That can take any form. If you just sit and meditate, if you go for a walk, how can you connect with yourself and this higher power within you and all around us that can give you a sense of stability and that will avoid you thrashing about in the exterior chaos, because there's a lot going on now. Timelines are shifting very fast, which is another thing. One other reason why we need these anchors, this daily practice. Our nervous system is overloaded. As we evolve and outgrow an old way of being, our old ego patterns come up to be released. But if we're not stable enough, like I wasn't stable enough in my own nervous system past 2 months, you tend to regress or you tend to spiral in that old way of being. Yeah. So cultivate, that's my suggestion, to you and to me. Be consistent in your spiritual practice, daily spiritual practice, prayer, meditation, connecting with yourself and higher power, whatever it takes to make you feel grounded from the get-go. Because the way we start our day sets the tone for the rest of the day. No? Numero uno. Yeah, the other lessons also, good things might come at you from all sides. Maybe an opportunity, maybe all of a sudden a new love, and you're like, I'm going to juggle everything. I'm not sure I juggle things very well. So they say when it rains, it pours, but that can go either way. So the good stuff can pour down on you too. And how do we handle that? Do we reject it? Do we say, I can't handle it? Or do we learn to just flow with it? The only way we can flow with it is by remaining centered. And I'm speaking from this past 2 months experience. I wasn't centered and everything got completely chaotic. I had to forgive myself again. The self-judgment, the shaming myself didn't help, made things worse. So coming back to the perspective of self-love. What would love do? Starting with ourselves. What really doesn't serve me anymore? At some point, we also need to get tired and angry with ourselves and our old patterns, before we can release them. Because it's like, seriously? Not speaking to yourself, like, seriously, are we still with the same habit, the same dysfunctional behavior, the same mind pattern that doesn't serve us anymore? Aren't you ready? Aren't you fed up yet with yourself? That's sometimes what it takes for us to really just say, okay, I'm cutting it off. I'm so tired of this. I'm annoyed with myself. I'm tired of being disappointed in myself. Yeah. So anger can be good if it's used constructively and not against ourselves. And then, of course, not shaming ourselves, not judging ourselves if things get messier than we had planned or expected them to be. So much is coming up in us to be released. And yeah, it can be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming if you want to fix everything at the same time instead of just starting with a small single practice. Like, okay, I told myself, all right, back to sadhana, and not like 2 hour long kriyas, small steps, a few minutes every day, and then build on that. And then introduce another good habit, building blocks. Being your best friend, no, instead of your worst enemy. So I hope you don't judge yourself if you thought this healing process would be more linear than it actually is. If old patterns have reared their neck again, it just means that you're looking at it from a new vantage point, and it's a new opportunity for you to let go of it, or to transmute it, or to change it, to transform it. Because we are here to transform our tikkun. So Kabbalah, according to Kabbalah, we have less than 300 years to embody our perfected self, our highest self. The one that's not reactive, the one that really is an expression of our essence, of our soul. That's why shit's hitting the fan from all sides, because the universe is trying to show us where we are not free, where we're still in darkness, where the light hasn't been shed on yet. But if things feel overwhelming, you can also tell yourself and the universe, okay, I want to take things a little bit smoother, slower, one thing at a time. Because if you say, yeah, I can handle this, the universe is like, boom, here, challenge, here, opportunity, is like, oh God. You got to remain the center of your own storm, no, and not spiral with the tornado. So grounding practices, self-forgiveness. Yes, reflecting on ourselves, and yes, looking at everything as an opportunity, not falling into victim mode where we blame something external or we put our power outside. Yeah, it's this person. Well, yeah, maybe that person triggered you, but the trigger is inside of you. What is it bringing up? What insecurity? What lack of self-worth or self-esteem? Where are you not grounded in yourself? Where have you lost your center? So yes, reflecting on that and then taking it easy on working through that with really compassion for yourself and not being a perfectionist either, telling myself, not being all OCD about things. I'm telling myself, if I can just be present enough, yes, have my goals and my priorities and my values straight, and then work on things as they come up without projecting too much in the future. That can be overwhelming too, no? And honestly, taking it easy and keeping things simple. Things are getting so complex out there. I mean, it's really a privilege to have a simple life. How can we simplify things? How can we soothe ourselves? How can we be with ourselves without getting distracted? I mean, I find it too. Whenever I have free time, I'm like, oh, okay, I need to watch another podcast. I need to input more information. And then what really sticks? What have we really integrated, embodied, i.e. applied to our own life? What's the use of all this knowledge if we're not putting it into action? That's what I'm asking myself. I don't need more knowledge. I need to ask myself, what am I integrating right now? What have I processed? What am I adopting in my own being, in my way of being with myself and others? Only that counts for me at the moment. So it's a 10-10 portal. I'm going to pull a reading for you in the next video. In any case, this one was just about sharing my status. So if you've been feeling similar for whatever reason, if things didn't go as planned, can we come back to wholeness, knowing that all is well, everything serves us? It's really just how we look at things, no? That is a big choice. Are we looking at a situation from perspective of lack and poor me or regret, or where can we see the lesson and be grateful for that lesson and move on, not wallow and ruminate. Again, guilty of that. How can we take our power back to right here, right now, and work with what happened and inject more self-love into the next action, into the next thought? Be conscious about that. That's how we can move on, move forward. Let me know if any of this has resonated. I send you lots of love. Let's remember that we need to fill our own cup first before we can give it to others. You are just as deserving of your own love as anyone else you're trying to love. Yeah, so let's start with the foundation here. Bandidos, Naam. Yes, I have a spiritual name. Amar Vedya is the one, she who connects beyond time and space with the knowledge and wisdom of God. So the more you say your spiritual name, the more you encourage that frequency. So I'm doing that for myself. How can I embody that more? How can I connect with that more? How can I channel that knowledge and embody that wisdom more to be of service? Sat Nam. See you for the reading coming up right after this.